Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we will be looking at the shocking murder of Gabby Petito and why people are suggesting that Brian may still be alive. So if you don't know who Gabby Petito is, then you need to go and watch the latest documentary that just came out, because she was a young woman who wanted to be a travel vlogger but ended up being murdered by someone called Brian Laundrie. Brian was also found dead, and this story is very shocking. But what makes it worse is that people still think Brian is alive. There has been a lot of speculation about what happened, and if Brian is actually still alive, what I'm showing you now is two Facebook posts where people have explained why they think Brian could still be alive. So one person says that they are convinced that Brian is still alive, and there is no way you can convince them otherwise. The next person says that when Gabby's body was found, she was still easily identified, and it took around 3 to 4 weeks to actually find her body. Brian's remains were found in less time, but his body was in such a bad state, and they knew it was him because his backpack was found next to where his body was, and he had written a note which confirmed that he was dead, and he is the one who is responsible for Gabby's murder. Apparently, his uncle was the dentist that identified him, which means that his uncle confirmed it was him. But because he is a family member, you never know if he was telling the truth, as there could be a very dark story behind this. There could be a possibility that Brian is still alive and has disappeared, but what makes it even worse is if that's the case, he has got away with murder, and he has affected so many people, because Gabby seemed like a very nice woman who just wanted to travel and become a content creator, but her life was taken from her. What is very worrying is the letter that Brian's mom wrote to him, which was titled, "Burn After Reading." This is already quite suspicious, but let's take a look at what Brian's mom had to say. The note says, "I just want you to remember I will always love you, and I know you will always love me. You are my boy. Nothing can make me stop loving you. Nothing will or could ever divide us. No matter what we do or where we go or what we say, we will always love each other. If you're in jail, I will bake you a cake with a file in it. If you need to dispose of a body, I will show up with a shovel and garbage bags. If you fly to the moon, I will be watching the skies for your re-entry. If you say you hate my guts, I'll get new guts. Remember that love is a verb, not a noun. It's not a thing, it's not words, it is actions. Watch people's actions to know if they love you, not their words." So that was the first part of the letter, and there are some very questionable things that are said by Brian's mom. The fact that she says that if he needs to dispose of a body, she will show up with a shovel and garbage bags. She initially said, "Bring a shovel," but changed it to "show up." So it looks like she was trying to be very careful with her wording in this letter. But saying something like that in a letter where it's titled "Burn After Reading" just makes you think that she knew a lot more about what was going to happen. She also says that actions show that someone loves you, not words or what people say. Is she talking about Gabby in this letter? Because it does look like she's basically saying that Gabby doesn't love him. In my opinion, this is very strange, and seeing what happened to Gabby, it does make you think that this might have been planned. A very, very weird letter, to be honest. The second part of the letter is basically Brian's mom saying that nothing can separate them, no matter what he has done or what he's involved in. When I first saw this letter, I immediately thought that it is connected to what happened to Gabby, and maybe Brian's mom has helped him get away with this, and he could still be alive. The reason I say this is because she basically states that Brian could do anything, and she will help him. Plus, if she's ready to turn up with a shovel and garbage bags to help him dispose of a body, then what's stopping her from helping him get away with murder? If you have seen the documentary where the police turn up at Brian's parents' home and they say that they don't want to speak to anyone, it just shows that they knew what had happened, and they're the ones that know the full story. So maybe they were thinking of a plan to help Brian get away with this. What we have to think about is that Brian came home and had enough time to work out what he was going to do. And with his parents by his side, they could have done anything. Brian didn't want to face the consequences for this murder. Also, Brian's sister said that she wasn't told anything and looked very confused, which is questionable in itself. But could Brian and his parents have made a plan and didn't want to speak to anyone about it? Which is why his sister seemed very confused when she was on camera being questioned. Another thing about the letter is that it didn't have a date on it. Brian's mom even managed to write an extended version, as you can see, but she didn't manage to write a date, which makes you question when this letter was actually written. Let's take a look at what Brian's mom had to say about the documentary, where they talked about this letter. So this is what Brian's mom said in response to the documentary. She says, "The letter to Brian was written prior to Gabby and Brian leaving my home for their trip. Previously, I submitted an affidavit to the court for very limited purposes, but that is not the whole story. Now that the letter has been shared, I ask that you read it in its entirety and understand that the letter contains other phrases besides those highlighted by Pat Riley for sensationalism and to bolster his case. I truly loved my son and simply wanted to convey to him how much he meant to me and how much I loved him. I am sure people use phrases all the time to express to their loved ones the depths of their love. Although I chose words that I thought would be impactful with Brian given our relationship, the letter was in no way related to Gabby. So the first thing Brian's mom says is that the letter was written to Brian before he and Gabby went on their travels across the country. But we haven't actually got any proof that 100% confirms when this letter was written. The problem with this is that it creates a situation where you either believe her or you don't. Also, she talks about using phrases that show how much she loves Brian, and she pretty much says that people use phrases like this all the time to show how much they love their children. But using phrases like, "If you need to dispose of a body, I will show up with a shovel," doesn't convince me that every normal parent says this to their child to prove how much they love them. In my opinion, it's a very weird way of saying how much you love someone, and after what happened to Gabby, it makes things very suspicious. Also, I find it very strange how Brian's parents basically led police to his body, like they knew that Brian would be there. Or was it a setup to allegedly help Brian get away with murder? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think Brian is still alive? Or was this a tragic situation that ended up with two people being found dead? Because this was a very interesting documentary. And for people who love true crime documentaries, it's a must-watch. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will update you as we find out more.